The three of you guys, man, thank you for what you guys do, and appreciate you guys having me on.
We were trying not to score and everything. We hit about 33s or something.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of felt that. We kind of feed off that energy.
This place is amazing. Like I really love Duke, and I love the atmosphere I'm in here.
Mark Williams, beast mode. Paolo first half, he had the cramping stuff. Fair enough. Beast mode.
We are back. We are back. Russ is especially back. The Crazy Cast. It's been a minute since we seen Russ on the screen. So welcome back, brother.
Thanks, man. I've got my Team New York K Academy hat on today. I'm representing for my buddy's team at K Academy. I've got my Duke shirt on that I got from the Duke store when I was there. It's so soft, it's so luxurious, right? I'm all merched out today, and I'm ready to go. Let's talk some Duke basketball.
Yeah, you just had to throw in again that this man was at K Academy.
This is also going for you. It's Team New York, right? It's a little
fair.
Simpatico, it's got everything. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Only time I'm repping New York on a hat, is if it's a.
We will take it. We will take it. Yes, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're back for our 2025-2026 Duke season preview. We've talked a little bit about, on our last episode of the recap of the exhibitions, a little bit about, what to expect, but we're looking to dive in deeper now, and especially we got Russ back on the mic. So we're excited, for the upcoming season for sure. We'll go through, what we think about the players, what we think about, the matchups, and what we expect from this great Duke team. Because from what we saw in the exhibition, I think it's a team that we should be pretty excited for. But Russ didn't give his thoughts on the exhibition. So give us your early thoughts, Russ. What did you think about Duke for their two exhibitions last week?
I don't think anything too surprising. If anything, the biggest surprise was just that the Tennessee game in the second half was pretty in hand. I mean, I know it got maybe a bit scary at the end, like a little bit. Sorry, somebody was buzzing into my door. I had to buzz them in. Great start to the show. Yeah, so like I thought that the Tennessee game was a great indicator that that's an experienced team. I mean, Ament notwithstanding, I mean, Rick Barnes, that team works every year. They're good every year. Rocky Top's a tough place to play. Down at the half, showed some real resilience. I mean, that was really exciting to see. And also exhibitions don't matter. They really don't matter. They really are there to just try some stuff out, see what you got, that kind of thing. So even if we had lost, I wouldn't have been concerned in the slightest. I know other coaches of very, very good teams that have lost exhibitions also aren't concerned in the slightest, nor should they be. But it's still just really nice to see. I think that there are some things that might be perceived, quote unquote, relative weaknesses of this team that, we saw a little bit in the exhibitions that we'll talk about, I'm sure. But again, nothing surprising. It's a young team, so a lot of those things do come with being a very young team again this year. So yeah, there's some learning curve, but man, if you beat Tennessee at Tennessee, even in an exhibition, to start the year when you're this young and they're so and they're Tennessee and that's Rocky Top, I think that's really, really exciting.
No, for sure. Exhibitions only matter when you win them. So don't tell that. That's what I think the Kentucky fans are saying after the Georgetown one. But
yeah, I don't think Tennessee was running the lineup that they'll actually run. Does Bishop Boswell actually start? And play 20 plus minutes? No, probably not. So they were probably trying some things too, right? So, but still, I mean, game on the line, close game down the stretch, taking punches, taking a press. I mean, that's the sort of thing you can take away from an exhibition, right? Is how how do you respond to scenarios, right? Maybe not like the game itself, but like we faced a press from the best defense that we will see all season. With maybe there's one or two competitors for that, but like that's an elite defense, and they pressed for the last like 6 minutes of that game. Got a little dicey occasionally, but like again, young team still handled it really well. I thought on the whole won the game. So what can you say other than really positive things beyond, again, some young team faults that, rear their head now and again, which again, we'll talk about some, but I'm not worried. I thought it was very encouraging.
Before we jump into, running down each players, obviously we like to do that for our season preview, talk about each player specifically. What about this team excites you the most? What one thing specifically?
The offense. I think there's a really exciting offense on this team in particular with the big men passing and Cayden Boozer. I mean, we'll see a lot of what we saw in the exhibitions with, Cam and Pat actions once Maliq is back. He certainly is capable of passing as well. That's just such a real advantage that we're going to have over the vast majority of teams in the country when your guys of 6'9", and like what Nik is 6'8", Dame's like 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is. Right? Like it's a really tall team with a lot of really tall passers. And so I think that, there's been a lot of discussion about point guards on this team or whatever. I think a lot of the action that they run is going to be with taller guys, initiating some things. And that just means it's so exciting from an offense perspective, right? Like, and we've seen Cayden Boozer is a huge part of that. That goes without saying. He's going to be a really special talent this year. So I think offensively, this is one of the best offenses in the country again, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
So do we shout out the Discord for this?
Yeah, I think we have to. Yeah, so the Trilly Donovan's basket under review. This user Marshall, who anybody who is in that Discord knows Marshall well when he's not getting kicked out. Marshall put a very interesting questionnaire with some over-unders for this Duke season in the Discord that everybody filled out. Marshall also posted the results. I haven't looked at them yet because I wanted to go in pure, but I kind of thought a good way to discuss this team this year was to do this extremely unscientific predictions on over-unders for Duke this year. I don't know how Marshall set these lines. I think some of them are interesting. Some of them I didn't even hesitate. But I'm also very, very interested to see what Zion thinks about all these. So I'm just going to go straight through and ask some of these. I'm gonna let you kick off for some of these.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, shout out to the group, the Duke chat in the Trilly Discord for sure. There's a lot of fun characters in there. I got in there a little bit. Some of them a little ruffle my feathers. But shout out to them. Shout out to them.
They ruffle my feathers too. Somebody's already is trying to ruffle my feathers literally live as we're doing this. Trying to talk about the next high school class of players. Give me a break. All right, so let's just start at the very beginning. Over under Cayden Boozer 18.5 points per game. Where do you land on this one, Zion? I think it's a fair line, I think.
Yeah. I think unfortunately the exhibitions kind of spoiled us with that. I think that's an easy answer. It's an easy over. I think he'll be at least. Cooper gave us 19. Zion gave
19.2. And Zion and RJ were both
22.
So I've got some numbers here. Cooper was 19. Paolo was 17. Matt Hurt was 18. Vernon was right around 18. RJ and Zion were both 22.5. Marvin was 21. Right, like those are the most sort of recent guys who were like the guy on a Duke team. I would also take the over, but I do kind of think that the exhibitions, UCF is going to be one of the fastest teams in the country, like they were last year. They ran one of the fastest tempos that there is. So that game being incredibly high scoring and incredibly efficient doesn't surprise me. They run fast and they're bad defense, right? So like that's a no brainer. Tennessee normally runs a little more slowly, although I have heard that with Gillespie running the point, they might at least offensively try to push more, which we definitely saw in the game. I mean, they were absolutely trying to push and not just extend those offensive possessions. I mean, at least from the eye test. So again, maybe those end up being two of the faster paced teams that we play. I mean, we are going to face teams like Louisville's going to run, right? Like Arkansas, when we play them, is going to run. There are a number of teams out there that are going to sprint against us. And in some of those games, I wouldn't be surprised if we try to slow down a little bit. But the reason why I bring up all of this is because when it comes to points per game, you have to sort of figure out, okay, well, how fast is Duke going to run this year? Because if we go really slow, the way that John had the first 2 years, right, then maybe the team's only scoring like 70-ish points a game and then winning that way. And if that's the case, that changes some of these answers. But if we think they go a little faster, which I don't know, we went a little faster last year. I do think the intention is to go as quickly as we can this year. The more possessions that the more talented team plays, theoretically, the more results you're going to get, right? So I think we'll be fast enough that Cam should be at that 19-20 mark. I think that feels like a safe bet. It could be even higher, but like normally that's really exceptional. If we're having to rely on him to score 22 plus a game, then either we're scoring a ton of points or the offense is really leaning in one direction, which I wouldn't love.
But even in a to counter that, even in a slow paced game, I do think Cam is still capable of putting up those numbers. Just because, number one, he's going to draw a lot of fouls. We've seen it early. He's going to get a lot of second chance opportunities, especially with this team, which will probably lead to more fouls. So I do think and I think his usage rate is going to be significantly higher than probably most freshmen we've seen. I think it's going to be more than Cooper's. I don't even know Cooper's off head, but I think it'll be higher than Cooper's, just because his ability. Yeah, just because of his ability to play make as well. I think that was something I took for granted. But after Tennessee,
I mean, Cooper had like a top 40 in the country usage. I mean, like, yeah, he was very high. I mean, like, Cam I think Cam would be comparable is what I would say. I don't know that I would necessarily go more than, but like if you told me that he goes, around there, I mean, I guess that wouldn't necessarily surprise me.
For sure. Rebounds is the second one though. 8.2.
Rebounds is the second one. I also want to say, even in this, you said like even in a slower pace, I wanted to pull up, real quick. I was just letting it load. Like Okafor got 17. Like the guys who broke 20 or even 19. I mean, like Cooper and RJ Zion and Marvin are the ones that like broke this number. And all of those offenses were on the faster side for Coach K and for Shire, right? Like, so generally speaking, if they want to go fast, if they want to be that kind of offense, then I do think Cam easily breaks that number. I think if they don't end up going fast, it becomes a lot harder to break that number.
But you said Jaleel
was under that. Jaleel was under that number,
and that was slower pace.
Yeah, that was like 140th in the country on offensive pace, something like that. Last year we were 112th, and it sort of barely broke that number, right? Like he broke it by 0.7 points per game.
But the only thing with Jaleel is Jaleel couldn't shoot threes, and he's probably not a better free throw shooter. And Cam is a high level shooter. So it will probably make 2 to 3 per game at least. So I think that could factor in as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just a philosophy of do we think this team will run fast or not? Because if I think they kind of will, so you're going to see me take a lot of overs here probably. But if you think they're going to be more towards the national average, then I'm probably wrong. And to be clear, on a lot of things, for Marshall's spreadsheet that he did last year, I was wrong. Like, so, and I feel like I'm decently knowledgeable about some of this stuff. It's just very hard to predict pure over-unders, it's incredibly hard. The next one is you have up on the board here, Cayden Boozer, 8.25 rebounds per game, right? I mean, I'm happy to go first on this one because I think this is one of the easiest overs that there is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only argument against it would be if you think that like Pat is an exceptional rebounder that eats up some of that productivity in a big way. Like if you thought Pat was going to be closer to a double guy, I don't know that I can get quite there, but like if you thought that, then maybe this is a closer line. But like Flip got 9 per game, like
Yeah.
Paolo got a little under 8, and he's not the type of rebounder that Cam is.
He played next to Mark Williams.
And he played next to Mark Williams. So, like, I think that one's kind of a no-brainer. I'll be interested to see what. Again, I'll read what the Discord's answers collectively were after this, but no, I have no question. I'm assuming you would also take the over pretty easily.
Yeah, by far. I mean, I think he'll be at the 11 range. To be honest, I can't remember what Marvin Bagley was at. Probably 10, 11.
Yeah, he was a double for sure.
Yeah.
And even Jaleel was 8.5, and that was like a slower team, right? Like that's yeah.
And I think Duke is probably gonna be, I think, a top 40 offensive rebounding team. Just with Cam as ability. He's a monster on the offensive glass. So
yeah, and again, if we run fast. Right, both Marvin and Wendell broke this number, both of them on the same team.
Oh, wow.
In 2018, right? So like that's very doable, even if you think that Pat is getting a lot of rebounds. If we run fast enough, like even RJ got pretty close to this number. Like
7,
like 7.6.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, the faster offense ramps up these over-unders. So, I mean, like, how quick do you think we're going to go is, again, just something I'll repeat over and over again. Yeah. The next question, this one gets a little more interesting. Isaiah Evans over-under 14.5 points per game. So, Zion, what do you think about this one? Lead off.
Oh, man, this is tough. This one is tough.
Let me give some context, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so second highest scorer for Duke the last couple of years. Khan was at 14.4. Okay. Jared McCain was at 14.3. Okay. Jeremy Roach 13.6. Wendell 13.4. DJ Stewart 13. Trey Jones 16.2, and then obviously Zion broke this number. Grayson broke this number in 2018, right? So when we go back a little more, we have guys. But generally, the last few years, we're coming just a tiny bit under this number for our second leading scorer. Some of that is pace dictated, obviously, because again, 18, 19 were faster, and then 20 through 23 slower, right? So
what was Gary Trent at?
Gary Trent was at this number exactly, 14.5. But he was the third leading scorer on that team, right? Like So yeah, that was just a very high scoring team because it was one of the quicker offenses in the country.
I'm gonna go over on this. Because
I'm also going over.
Yeah, I feel like even just like the player that Slim is, we know Slim is gonna get up shots. And we kind of saw it even, with Tennessee that I have him slotted as the second leading scorer. Even the shots he got off against UCF, I want to say it was 14 shots, 13 total shots. He's gonna get off shots, and there's gonna be a lot of 3-pointers. I think it's just gonna add up over time, and he'll have like a 25-point game this year. So I think it's just gonna add up over time, and he'll be over that range.
Slim shot 4 threes a game last year in like under 14 minutes a game, right? I think it's very realistic to suggest that he might be taking 8 to 9 threes a game this year. I think that's extremely realistic. Let's say he's a 40. Let's say he's a little less than a 40% shooter this year, right? With the added volume. I mean, he's still making like 4 threes a game. If he's doing that, 3 to 4 threes a game, so you're already at like 12-ish points, not including free throws, not including fast break transition points, not including layups, not including any of that stuff. So like, I kind of think this is pretty easily over. Like maybe not by a ton, but like I would have him closer to 15 to 16. Again, I don't think he's like at 19, right? I'm not putting it that. I don't think it's a RJ Zion situation, but like he's not shy.
Mhm.
And he's not out there to like run the offense. He's not out there to pass, right?
Right.
He's out there to shoot. He's out there to score. He's out there to make Cam Boozer's life easier. So, yeah, I like the over on this one. I understand people going under. Like, again, it's very pace dependent, but I think they're going to run a little faster this year. I think 15 to 16 is probably closer to the line.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Dame Sarr over under 11.5 points per game.
You want first shot?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go under on this one. You know, and I really like him as a player. I'm actually really high on him as a player. Actually, I think potentially higher than most. But I think a lot of what he will do that excites me is on the defensive end. It's a lot of getting into the paint. Some of that will result in finishing. Some of that I think will result in pretty easy sort of dump offs and kickouts, which I do think he can do as part of his game. How much does he go to the free throw line? That could certainly impact this. I do think he'll draw fouls. How many threes does he make a game? We obviously saw a very ugly 3-point attempt from him in one of the exhibitions, but we also saw a really beautiful 3-point attempt from him. You know, I think that also just his experience, you know, at the pro level overseas, you know, this is a different game. You know, honestly, the spacing is probably worse in college than where he was. In fact, I'd say that's almost certainly the case without watching a ton of that tape. And so that might impact a little bit, right? For sure. It's just a different style. I would have, if it was like 10, I would have been maybe more interested in an over. I could see him breaking double digits. 11.5 is just like a little high for me. Especially because some of the other guys we're going to talk about, I have over, right? So at a certain point, I have to pick unders. So I'll pick under. I'd think it's more in that like 9 to 10.5 range, personally. But I'm interested to see what you think.
No, I pretty much agree. I actually asked this question. I'm about to pull up now on a tweet. Shout out my brother.
It also depends if you
Chimezi
think he's.
Metu.
It depends if you think he's the third leading scorer on the team. Because if you do think he's the third leading scorer on the team, then you probably do pick an over. I mean, like, you know, but I'm not necessarily convinced.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I am either. I did ask this question to his former teammate last year, my guy Chimezi Metu. He said 9 to 10. He thinks, and 5 boards.
That feels perfect to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go in. Yeah, I think I'll probably go in that range as well. At least, like, you know, it'll be in the 8-9 range. You know, because he's definitely adjusting. I don't think it's a matter of he's adjusting to the level and like the talent of college more so than adjusting to like the pace and, you know, the rules and, you know, the difference in physicality. I think once that settles in for him, the game will come easier for him. And I think he's also a guy that probably just wants to win, and he's going to do what it takes to win. He's not like a I need my shots, you know, type of guy. I think if defensively is going to be, if his calling card is going to be defense, that's what he's going to take pride in. And, you know, we got a little glimpse of it against Tennessee. Saw him dive on the floor. You know, we saw the transition 3. We saw him get out in transition, leak out, Cam outlet to him for the dunk. I think he's going to get his points, you know, where he could get his points and really fit in. But yeah, I don't see him, you know, being a high level scorer for us, but I still think that's a very impactful player and a player we need, obviously, to win a championship.
Yeah, if it's 9 to 10 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, like 2 steals, maybe like, you know, 3/4 a block, you know, per game. I mean, that's a ridiculous line for a guy who's probably not going to play more than like he's probably like a 24, 25 minute a game guy. He's not. I don't know that we have many high minute game guys other than Cam. Maybe Slim, right? So yeah, but man, I'm very excited. He's definitely, from everyone I've talked to, he's definitely a one and done. You know, like I think that, you know, we're going to see some really special stuff from him. And considering he came to the team like later than the rest of the team, there's definitely a learning curve of just getting used to your teammates. But man, like that stuff when he and Slim and Pat were all like yelling at each other like psychopaths on the court, so excited during the Tennessee second half.
Were you the one to tweet that?
That I said they were psychopaths?
Yeah, you might. Yeah, I might have saw a tweet, and then I think I referenced it on the show without remembering who it was from.
Yeah. No, they are. I love when guys are generally like so excited that you know how like when you're in this is I'm gonna sound so washed saying this. You know how you're in the club sometimes, right? And when you're in the club, there's like dudes get like real amped up like with each other sometimes, and there's a degree to which like if you're just like trying to like have a good time and they're getting like so stoked next to you that it's not cool anymore. It's like right, it's like you're starting to scare me, guys. Like, you know, like watch the elbows, you know, whatever, right? Like I want that energy from my team, like at all times, like where the other team doesn't want to be near you, right? Like where they're put off by how enthusiastic you are and how much fun you're having. I love that energy. Last year's team had a lot of that energy, right? Like, so if we can capture some of that in the bottle for this year, I would love that. They've got it. They've got it for sure.
No, for sure. I did love that clip when it was Dame, Slim, and Pat all hyping each other.
Oh, and Slim is hype man number one, dude. I love Slim, dude. Oh my god, he's the best.
No, this team will have the energy. We'll also get to that conversation later about being vocal.
Your
next one,
Pat over under 8.5 points per game. You're up first this time.
Yeah,
this one's interesting.
I'll go over, but it might be a slight over. I think he'll be either in I'll extend the range to like 9 to 11. Because I can't figure out, you know, like last game he had 15 and 9. You know, there will be games like that, especially the games that feature a little bit more front court players, a little bit more physicality. But you know, the games that we play against smaller teams, that will probably be a Maliq game. You know, will probably be a lot of heavy dose of Maliq and heavy dose of Cayden Boozer a little bit at the 5. Now that we've seen that against Tennessee, so you know, his production will probably be dependent on matchup to matchup. But I still think, you know, we'll see a lot of big games with Pat. I am very high on Pat. Like I think that he's a stud. But you know, the makeup of basketball today is, you know, if you have a big that's a little bit slow, a little bit bigger, burlier, then other teams try to run him off the floor. And I think that's what some teams will try to do and you know, stretch him out on the perimeter.
Yeah, I am interested to see what they do with him defensively. I've kind of asked some questions. You know, I've tried to like, you know, see what the thought process is a little bit as it pertains to that. Like, we definitely saw him blitzing. You know, we definitely saw, you know, like a little drop, like not much. We saw more drop in the other game. I think in drop he's going to be a stud, and I think that he is mobile enough to, you know, do some high hedge, you know, stuff like that kind of thing. I think he could be really disruptive, as long as he, you know, avoids the foul trouble, which definitely I do think might be an issue this year. I'm sure they're working on that. In terms of like pure switchability, I lean more skeptical without seeing like more tape, especially against some of those faster teams, like those more experienced teams at like the 2-man game. I mean, Tennessee's 2-man game in the first half. Obviously, Pat had to be a little tentative in the first half too, just because of the immediate fouls. But like, you know, the big thing that I come back to here, dude, like Marquise in 2019 scored 5.5, right? Like it's only 3 more points a game. Even if we've got like some up and down stuff, I just expect Pat's usage to be like notably higher than somebody like Marquise's. Mark Williams, even his freshman year, I want to say was like was at 7. You know what I mean?
Was he?
And he was playing 15 points a game, and he was at 7. It was 15 minutes a game, and he was scoring 7 points a game, right? Like I just think Pat's bag is skilled enough and diverse enough in terms of offensive talent to make it more like in that 9 to 11 range. You know. But maybe the only downside would be like you said, matchup dependent. Maybe there are some matchups where like very clearly Maliq needs to stay on the floor the whole game, and so we're going to get some weird Pat games where he scores like 2 points a game that might like tank it a little bit, right? Like that's a very real possibility. But I lean over just because the offensive skill I think is there, that even if he only plays 22, 23 minutes a game. I mean, like, again, Mark Williams was playing 23 minutes a game and got to over 11, right? He smoked that number, and that was largely on dunks, right? So like, and a slower paced team at that. So I think Pat, there's a non-zero chance Pat's the third leading scorer, right? Like, I think that very well could happen. So I would take over. I think that's the safer pick here. Have we disagreed yet? I think we've agreed on everything. That's boring.
Yeah. I think we
maybe we'll get there eventually. Caleb Foster is the next one. Over under 7 points a game. Could this be the disagreement? I don't know what you're going to say on this one. Am I up or are you up? Who's up?
I think it's you.
Is it me? Dude, people are going to hate me for saying this. I think I'm going to take the over. I'm taking the over on this, and let me tell you why. Okay, first of all, John is going to give. Let's look at what happened last year. Okay, Caleb had a disastrous beginning to the season. I think Caleb would agree, right? Everyone would sort of agree. But on top of that, at the same time, Sion was so obviously good and was like so obviously a huge net positive player right away that it made making that switch really easy. This year, he is one of 2 upperclassmen on the team. Okay, he's definitely somebody that they're looking for to be a leader. We saw towards the end of the Tennessee game, he was out there. Even if people weren't terribly happy with some of the plays, he was out there, right? Like he has the faith of the staff. I saw him play some this summer when I was at K Academy. Name drop. I saw.
We got to get a K Academy counter.
Get a graphic. Dude, he looked really good. I mean, and I've spoken with people who saw him play all summer, and like the reports are pretty ecstatic of how he looked this summer. And so, yes, he hasn't looked awesome in the first 2 exhibitions, but I would say neither is Caleb. Or neither is Cayden, because Cayden's still, he's a freshman. He's going to have some bumps. We'll talk about him in a minute. But like without an obvious Sion guy there to hand it off to, I think they're going to keep rocking with Caleb until somebody is like very definitively playing better than him. And there's also a good chance that he just like comes around. The other thing that I want to point out is Caleb broke this number his freshman year. So basically, this is just a bet on, we think that Caleb this year will be closer to sophomore year Caleb than freshman year Caleb. I'm inclined to say it'll be closer to freshman year Caleb, especially given the age and sort of proto-captain role that they're clearly trying to give him. And they're going to put the ball in his hands some and see him create. We've seen that in the exhibition, again, for better and for worse. So at least he'll be out there enough. I don't think we're going to have another. How many minutes a game did he play last season? Like 14. And then in 2023, he played 25. I think it'll be notably closer to 25 than 14. I'd be really surprised if he's playing under 20 minutes a game this year. Like maybe down to 18, maybe. Like if it's not going well. But like you really have to think he's playing more like 14 minutes a game in order for this to be an under, I think. That's my argument for it. The people who want to take the under are taking the under because they aren't believers, right? Like he scored 5 points a game last year, playing as little as he did. He scored 5 points a game, right? That's one more basket. That's one more.
The thing is, we looked at he played 30 minutes. Obviously, it's exhibition. I'm not gonna say the exhibition is the Bible. He played 30 minutes against Tennessee. He had 5 points.
One of the toughest defenses in the country.
Yes, but he played 30 minutes and had 5 points. And there were points where kind of felt like he wasn't.
How many points did he score at UCF? I don't have it in front of me.
UCF. Hold on, I'm about to pull it up right now. I know the number is 3. 3 points in 25 minutes, 1 for 6. But he got off 6 shots.
He did get off 6
So,
shots. Last year he
um,
took a little over 4 shots a game.
yeah,
If it's close to 6 shots a game, I think 7. I think over is probably the right call.
it's tough though because there's a lot of guys on this team that could chip in like 5, 6 here, and that adds up.
You're not wrong.
I'm not saying he can't be at the 7 range.
I think 7's a great line.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Like, what do you say when you don't pick over and under? Like, even
Push. You want to take the
Push?
push? Dude, it would be
'Cause-
insane if he scored exactly 7.0 and you took a push. That'd be some Nostradamus shit, dude. That would be unbelievable. So
Because
I want to point out, by the way, just because you brought up the shot attempts, and I think that is important. So he scored 5 points a game last year on like 4.5 shots a game. He scored almost 8 points a game his freshman year on a little over 6 shots a game. So really, this bet is less about the number of points per game and more how many shots do you think Caleb takes this year? Do you think it's closer to 4 or 5? Do you think it's closer to 6, 7? If you think it's closer to 6, 7, this is an over and a walk. If you think it's only 4 to 5 because either he's passing a lot or he's not playing enough, then it's probably an under.
I'm sorry, I got to make the joke. You said 6, 7. Shout out to the Gen Z listeners.
Everybody put a chopped in the chat for Zion.
Listen, I know somebody was going to be listening.
The chat.
Yo, I know somebody was going to be listening and be like, "Oh my god, he said 6, 7."
Yeah, probably Nik Khamenia is in the chat saying that. Yes, I saw that video that you said.
Oh man, but nah, it's just it's hard for me because
you're taking the under. It's okay, you can take the under.
No, but it's like weird because I don't want to take the over, but I don't want to take the under. I feel like it's just not.
Push wasn't an option on the clicker there.
Okay, so I'll say 6.8. I'll say 6.8. Yeah, I'll go slightly under.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to 12 here. I mean, it could be like 7.5, right? Like, I just think he's going to take enough shots, and we're going to play a fast enough pace, and he'll be on the floor more than maybe some of the skeptics think and or want. Like, I'm a believer generally that unless Cayden comes out and immediately at the beginning of the year is Sion level, like savant, both ends, very, very clear impact on the floor on both sides of the ball. In which case the decision is easy and Caleb will go under. Right. Yeah. But Caleb also, people are also discounting. Everyone says, well, Cayden will just like get better. There's a chance Caleb will also play better. Like, I know he's not a freshman, but like we've seen sophomore to junior year leaps out of players. We've seen upper class leaps. We saw Jeremy get a lot better. We saw Wendell obviously is a great example of this, right? Like, so Proctor is a great example of this. So, experience helps a lot for some of these younger guys, especially guys who played high school during the COVID, era, right? Where like maybe they missed some games, they missed a little development, and things got a little funky sometimes for some of these guys. I feel good about it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I just think it's not even because I'm also factoring. I do expect Cayden to get better.
So do I.
I'm not going to. Yeah, and I also think like some of the guys we have, like a Darren Harris and Isaiah, obviously they're on the floor to score, like shoot the ball. I think Caleb might be in a little bit more of even just a passive role to get his guys, but we'll see. I'm not too worried about Caleb right now.
I do think Caleb probably a factor that we're seeing, and certainly some of the reports you hear from this summer about his distribution. I think a lot of his next level, career aspirations probably boil down to how much on ball can he play, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because he's just not like a 3-and-D 3-point shooter type. So then you've got to be able to and he's got a great first step. He can get into the paint. It's what he does once he's there that sometimes is very up and down. But like, if he can solidify that and sort of prove that this year, then like I'm not saying he's a draft pick. That's not the case. But like, in terms of making a professional career out of basketball somewhere at some level, I think playing on ball is advantageous to that for Caleb, and it's certainly for this team having more guys who can play on ball. Do I think he's maybe better off ball with some of the other passers that we have this year? Maybe, but I also want to point out that going into last season, like there were a good number of people that thought Caleb could be the second leading scorer on the team. Right. The hype was very high. I don't think having a bad sophomore year should eliminate entirely the excitement level that freshman year gave Caleb. People are going to be screaming at me at the Discord about this because people are just like irrationally out on Caleb and he can't improve at all and blah, blah, blah. Like, I kind of think that's ridiculous. He has struggled, but he is doing everything the right way and has the capacity to get better in the same way that every other player does, and has shown, unlike a lot of the younger players, he had huge games his freshman year that like helped win us games. I mean, like that's faith that a coaching staff is then going to keep in the kid, right? Like as it should. So I'm a believer. I'm holding out the hope, and if it doesn't improve, then it is what it is. But like, you can't discount an entire summer of people saying he played very, very well and led very, very well just because 2 exhibitions didn't go great.
And I think, just to wrap this up, I think my progression, if I see Caleb progress, I just may not think it will be solely scoring. I think like his value may be across categories.
Defense and passing for sure. Yeah. Definitely.
But all right.
Yeah.
Who we got next?
Darren Harris, over under 4.5. Oh, nope. Sorry, I went too fast. That's a spoiler for the next one. Cayden Boozer, over under 6.5 points per game. Zion is up first this time.
Yeah. I'll go under, slightly under. I just don't think, I don't think his role on this team will be to score. I mean, that's obvious. It's not even really saying much. I think his role will be to run the offense. His role will be to be great defensively, be a great, a pest on the defensive end. And, will be to set teammates up. He probably should have done it on an assist over under. But, I think his biggest value to this team will be his distribution and setting up guys like a Pat. We need a guard play in this year more than we ever do, just because Pat is not a guy who can create a shot for himself. Isaiah is still working on that. He's flash stability, but not necessarily a guy that will be able to just give the ball to ISO and it's a bucket every time. There's one guy on the floor that could do that, and it's Cam. So in situations, we'll need to set up guys like a Darren Harris, find them in the corner, like a Nik Khamenia to find in the corner and shoot. So I think that's where his value is going to be the most. So I'll say under for him.
A lot of this comes down to like a later question, which is, do you see Cayden, starting more games, playing more minutes? Because I think the higher you have that, the more likely it is that it goes over. I just want to say, like here's a comp that like nobody is going to like, but just in terms of, I want to point out that when you're on the floor as a guard, even as a guard who is not looking to score, that if you play enough, getting to this number is not impossible. Jordan Goldwire, his last season for Duke, scored 6 points a game, right? Now he played 28 minutes a game, right? But like, and I don't think Cayden will play 28 minutes a game. But if you think that Cayden is going to be out there a lot, then this is going to be an easy over, I think. Just because he'll have the ball enough, like getting to
what's a lot though?
I mean, that's a great question. That's a great question. Also, that Goldwire team played way slower than this team is going to play. I think if Cayden's playing like 25 minutes a game, like then I'm kind of smashing the over. I'm inclined, honestly, to give an over at like if it was at 7.5, I'd probably pick under, but like 6.5 just feels a little low unless I think he's playing like if I think he's playing like 18 minutes a game, then I'm hitting the under. But like if I think it's in the low 20s, then I kind of think I have to lean over. I'm inclined to lean over. I also just think this is going to be a high scoring team.
Yeah, at this point, you've
I
gone
think
over on everything.
no, not everything. I went under on Dame, but
Okay.
yeah, I think that but also just I think they're pretty fair lines from Marshall. So like any of my overs, I mean, I'm thinking they're like a point or two more, right? But also like I think Cayden's a really good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So when he's out there, I like his odds of making like a 3 a game. And so if he's making a 3 a game, then we're literally just talking like one layup and one trip to the line beyond that, like even if he's not looking to score much, I mean, if he's taking like 4 shots a game and then getting to the line like once, I mean, like you're getting really close to that line already. I mean, like
I think you're counting it as like he's doing that every single game. Like I feel like
yeah,
it's
true.
Like, there will be games where he has 0. Like
sure.
I think so.
Sure. I think that's probably fair. But I don't know. I'm a big believer in him. I know the team is a big believer in him. I don't know like how it manifests in terms of minutes. This also just will go down to our question that'll come up later of like rotation size and what we think about that. But I think he plays enough that I would lean over and like just a scoonch over, but I like the over here.
Yeah. Let me take that back though. I'm not taking that back. I don't think there is a game he has 0. I'm not gonna say that.
Well, I mean, like early foul trouble or if Caleb is on one that game, then like he might just like not play as much, right? Like there could easily be a game where he plays like 10 minutes, and just because of fouls and if Caleb and like Dame are absolutely like wrecking the other team, then like that's just going to be something that happens to this team that people need to not overreact to. There'll be a game where Pat plays like 10 minutes probably, like because Maliq is just dominating when he's in there and Pat picked up 3 quick fouls. And so they just like let Maliq ride like the rest of the way, right? Like maybe not 10, like 12, like, but there are going to be games like that where, the discourse afterwards is going to be like, oh, this person only played this many minutes. Oh, I mean, this. It's like, no, the beauty of having a deep team is like there's going to be games where people don't play as much as you'd expect, and it's not a reason to sound an alarm. So like I think there's a chance Cayden has a 0-point game. I mean, like in the same way that there's a chance Caleb has a 0-point game, right? Like there's gonna be games in which the guards, if they're looking for other people and the other guards are playing better, they just don't play enough and they don't get a basket. Like I wouldn't be too alarmed about that. Darren Harris, over under 4.5 points per game.
Is it you or me?
I think this one goes to me.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm going to take an over. I'm taking an over. I got unders coming, but okay. I'm taking the over. And again, not like an exorbitant over, but like if you think he's hitting a 3 a game, which I think he is, he doesn't have to do much else. I've also really liked what we've seen from him in the exhibitions. I mean, like I was a big believer last preseason in him. The shot didn't fall enough and the defense wasn't good enough for him to get on the floor, unfortunately. But like his high school tape is so fresh in my mind. Like the guy balls. The guy is a dog. And like he really, really is smart. He's really aggressive. He makes smart plays out there. I really like his chances of getting at minimum to that 5-6 range. If you wanted to tell me that he has kind of like a mini breakout this year and like plays more than people expect and is more like a 6th man because he's just like he's doing a lot, I could see that. I really could. And that was kind of again when we spoke last year, the progression kind of was, freshman year Darren is going to play as much as he can, given the fact that it was the most stacked roster like in Duke recent history. And then 6th man, 7th man the next year, in line for starting opportunities the subsequent seasons, hopefully. Right, so he's online. I think he's on track. So I like the over here.
Yeah, I think I'll go over. Just because I feel like too, there's gonna be maybe a game or two where he does hit, multiple threes, 4 threes,
For
um,
sure. For
because
sure.
yeah, he's on the floor to shoot that rock. Like he got off. He
And
was
Duke
one.
will shoot. Duke will shoot
Yeah,
a lot this year like they did last year. They're going to shoot a
yeah,
lot of threes.
right. And we saw he got off 6 shots against Tennessee. I think he got UCF. I don't know. I don't have UCF up. Yeah, he got 6 shots, both games, 6 shots. Had 11 in the first one, had 3 in the second one. He missed a couple in the Tennessee game that by mid-season, nobody's leaving him that wide open. Um,
He
you know,
also scored 2 points a game last year, and he
right.
never played.
Never
Right,
played.
like so this is only 2.5. It's 1 3-pointer more than what he scored per game last year. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I like the chances.
yeah. I think this is a pretty confident over.
Nik Khamenia over under 8 points a game. This one goes to you.
Ooh. I'm trying to get it on the screen. My fault. Multitask producing. This one I'll go. I think I'm gonna go slightly under. But I do think Nick is going to be a high level impact player for us. I do think he's gonna get off his shots too, just because he gets to the rim. Like I tweeted,
Yeah.
he's able to draw contact a lot, and he does it really well. I think his shot is going to fall eventually. I think he's just missing shots he normally makes. He's a high level shooter, and he's going to get a lot of opportunities to get passes off a kick out from Cam, or get the skip pass. I think he's going to have a chance to be over this, but I don't think, especially with how many overs we might have, is going to make sense mathematically for everyone. Yeah, so I think he may be in the 7 range, if anything. But I think there will be a game he has like 15, and he gets the line, hits a couple threes. But he's gonna be. I tweeted it early. I know everyone likes to make the comparison to a Grayson, and at least just in general, not with Nick specifically. Everyone in general likes to always compare the bench comparison to Grayson. In 2015, but I do think he will fulfill a lot of the things that Grayson did. Like he's going to, be the dirty guy. He's going to dive on the floor. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to, shoot the open threes. He might hit up a couple threes if he gets hot. When he gets to the rim, he's going to create contact, which Grayson did his whole career. So I think, he's going to be a valuable player for us, but I'd say slightly under.
Yeah, I'm also going to take an under, although like it depends on whether you think he starts all year, right? Like if he's starting every game, you probably need to take the over, because like I think usually our 5th starter is right around this like 8.5-ish kind of number. Another player that kind of came to mind in terms of, I was trying to think about what freshmen were pretty good about getting to the line, who also like played a pretty decent amount. How about Dell again? Right? Like Nick should be a better shooter, but like Dell was pretty good at getting to the line. His freshman year, he played a good amount, and I think he scored like 7-ish. Yeah, 7 point. He played 24 minutes a game, scored 7.4. I could easily see Nick doing like a 7.4. Obviously, Nick is more likely to hit a 3 in a game than freshman year Dell was.
Right.
So that's definitely a factor. It just depends how much you see him playing. I mean, if you see him being a 25-minute per game kind of guy, then like, it's probably an over. I think there are so many guys that could be 25-minute per game guys that I'm more inclined to go with the under. I think it might be a little safer. There's certainly a chance he scores 12 and I look like an idiot, because he's really good.
Yeah.
There's just no shortage of really good guys. So that's why when you're ragging on me for like, over, it's like, yeah, but like most of my overs, I think a guy is going to score 9 and then 8 and then 6
Right.
and then 7 and then 6. Like I think we get a lot of guys that are going to score in that like 6 to 10 point range. And then we've got, the big, like I think we'll have Cam score a ton. We'll have Slim score a lot. And then we'll have a bunch of guys who probably average out in that 6 to 10 range, because they'll have games where they score 18 and games where they score 2 or 4, right? Like I'd probably put Nik in that. I don't remember what his numbers were in the 2 exhibitions, but
I got 7 points against Tennessee, but he got off 9 shots, 2 of 9, and
yeah.
14 points against UCF. A lot of that came from the free throw line. 12 attempted free throws.
How many minutes did he play in each game?
He played against Tennessee.
I thought he played a lot. UCF.
27. 27 against Tennessee, 33 against UCF.
Yes, I mean, if he does that, then this is a clear over. This is just a clear over. I think Dame is going to be hard to keep off the floor. And like that's probably the guy whose minutes are getting eaten a little bit. But it's hard to say. I mean, I could just be wrong. Now that you said those numbers, I'm really regretting it. But I don't want to overreact to the exhibition.
Dame did play one game, and he's still working his way back. So that's kind of where I factored my number in, is the fact that I expect Dame to progress. And like you said, I think those minutes are going to be kind of chopped down once Dame becomes a player we think he is.
I also expect Cayden to progress. There will be games where Darren Harris is on one. Certainly when Maliq is back, Maliq will be like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of lineups where Maliq and Pat are playing together, but like, so it's usually going to just eat into Pat's, but like, there's just a lot of rotation stuff here, man. Sebastian Wilkins over under 3.5 points per game. Is this one to me or to you?
I think it's to you.
I think it's to me. I'm going to go under. I'm a big believer in Sebastian going forward. But, like, I think he's probably the 10th guy, in this rotation. He certainly has the capacity to do better easily, because I like his jump shot. I know that's been a question for some people. I think it passes my eye test personally. And he's got, like, the tools that are there. But he also got lost a little on defense in the exhibitions. He is young, for this team. So I think he's more a guy that we're going to try and have on this sort of Darren Harris track, where it's going to be a building process. And I mean, Darren scored 2 points a game last year, and Darren in terms of offensive bag in high school, at least from the tape I saw, was ahead of Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
And that Russ, like, the only question I guess would be, this team might need some wing defense at times, like if his defense comes along and proves itself to be really good, then having another wing defender out there with some tools and size, I think would be really valuable. But does that translate into points, or is he just out there to hustle hard and bother opponents and make an impact and then shoot maybe wide open ones? I think it's probably the latter. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I think I have under as well. I think for him it's going to be tough, because even the Tennessee game, he was kind of thrown in there because it was kind of like, we need you to spot some minutes. Pat is in foul trouble. So if Maliq is healthy, I don't think that there's going to be any of those opportunities at all, especially if it's a high level game. So I definitely think, he won't have enough opportunities to put his number above here. But I think, like you said, he's more of we're putting you here to mature you and get you ready for next season. That's why he reclassed. I don't think he reclassed to be a high level player freshman year. I think he
reclassed to play against Cayden Boozer and Nik Khamenia and Dame and all these guys. Yeah.
So, I think it'll be more about next year for Sebastian.
There's always a world in which, much like last year, Darren had occasional opportunities and just the shots weren't falling, right? Like, so, there will be games in which Duke is sort of in a dogfight where somebody we need is in foul trouble or whatever, and we got to spot those minutes. There's a chance to work his way into the rotation. We've seen players do it before. It's just such a deep team. I mean, it's even for a guy who I really believe in long term, it's hard to see enough minutes to get to 3.5 to 4, that is to say. Maliq Brown over under 3 points a game.
I mean, I'm going to go over on this just because I feel like he's not playing with as much offensive firepower as he did last year. But I don't know if that over is going to be like 3.1 or 3.2. What did he average last year? Probably like 2.6 or something.
2.5 last year.
Yeah, 2.5 last year. I'll bump it up to like 3 point something, if anything. I don't even know. I think it'll be over. I'm not quite sure on what that over would exactly be because he's typically not someone that looks at the rim. Like,
No.
although the crazy thing is we got introduced to Maliq Brown by him dropping 26 in Cameron, like against Duke. So like that was like confusing to me, where I'm looking the next year, he doesn't even look at the rim at points. But I do think he'll be a little bit more aggressive this year, just because given the roster construction we have and just him being older. But I don't know how much over that will be. I'm sure he'll have a couple double digit games. I don't think he had a double digit game last season. I believe his highest game might have been UNC, and that was 8 points where he hit the 2 threes. I could be wrong, but that's off head. But yeah, I don't.
He also scored 8 against Kansas.
Okay, 8 against Kansas. Yeah, and then he also hit a 3 that game as well.
He did.
So I think he'll make the progression to have a couple double-digit scoring games maybe this year, but I don't think he's looking at the rim much.
Dude, it's so funny. He did 8 against Kansas, 8 against UNC, 6 against Louisville. He obviously gave us some good. He did 4, 3, and 3 against Houston with 2 steals. I mean, like, he's a guy who likes the big games, right? He definitely likes that. I'm gonna go under because he did 2.5 last year. I could see it being 2.8 or whatever. I think more than anything, you want to talk about a guy who's going to have like 0 point games, 1 point games. I mean, like, this is your guy, because we're going to see some lines from him where it's like 0 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, right? We're going to, right. We're going to see where like points. I think he's the sort of the perfect Duke player in that, like, we have enough scoring. We have enough. He's not out there for that. He's out there to set the tone. He's out there to play hard defense. He's out there to create for others. He'll take advantage like he did last season, where, like, look, when he would take a 2, he's probably making it, right? Because he's only taking it if it's the best thing available in the offense, right? And when you're playing offense with Cooper Flagg and Khan and Cayden Boozer and Slim and all these other people that he's playing with when he's at Duke, the best option is probably going to be somebody else a lot of the time. So I think it's going to – I'd lean under just a little. I think it'll be like, again, in that 2.5 to 2.8 kind of range. It could be 3.5. I mean, we're really nitpicking when it's somebody like Maliq. But more than anything, I think there's a real world in which, and I mean, honestly, I probably should be taking the over if I think this. There's a real world in which, like, he could end up averaging more minutes per game than Pat if something breaks a certain way, right? Like, if Pat's foul trouble, persists, if the defense just is very clearly much better in switch, where it's just switch everything, if we play enough opponents that's necessitated, then he can be playing in that like 22, 23 minutes a game kind of role if that happens. And if that happens, then it's pretty clearly an over just based on minutes. He played 16 minutes last year with the 2.5. Again, if I'm hedging my bets and going 20-20, I think it's going to be really close to 3. It's a great line, but I'm gonna lean under.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because
it's not where his value is. His value is everywhere else,
and he knows that. Even though I do believe
that
he could easily, if he wanted to, average 9. He's capable of it, but it's just not. He
knows the team is better when he's doing other things, when he's putting all of his energy into other things. I mean, like, I could see a game in which he blows up like he did against us at Syracuse, but like if we're counting on that, then the game has gone awry some, right? Like, so again, I love the player. He's one of my favorite players on the team, specifically because we don't need him to score at all for his impact to be felt. That also really pissed me off last year when he was out and people were like, "Oh, they're missing his 2.5 points a game."
Oh my!
It's like, goodness. dude, watch the games. He's so impactful. It's ridiculous. Who starts more games, Caleb Foster or Cayden Boozer?
I'm gonna go I'm gonna go Caleb Foster.
I'm also going Caleb Foster.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Caleb Foster because I think Shires he knows he could trust Caleb, at least from a leadership standpoint, and I do think he'll settle. I know people are a little bit worried about oh, Caleb hasn't looked great in the exhibitions, but I do think he'll settle down and find his role. Whether that's scoring or whether that's scoring or not, that's not really. I don't think that's going to matter. I think it's going to be how he's setting up his teammates and how he's defending as well. I think if he does both of those at a high level or the level we need, he's going to be on the floor. There's going to be no reason to take him off. But if it goes the other way, then it's going to be Cayden's job.
I'm gonna pick Caleb also, A, because of the seniority, and B, because he's gonna get the first crack at it, right? Like, it's his job to lose.
Right.
So he has to lose the job. So you really want to you need to be betting on the guy that, like, it's his job to lose. It's a safer bet, right? Like, now if you are confident that he'll lose for whatever reason, if you missed his entire freshman season and you think there's like no chance that he holds his job, then sure, then you go with Cayden. Or if you think that he's the next coming of Sion James and just like the team is so transparently better on both ends of the floor when he's in the game, then sure, then Caleb will go to the bench just like he did last year. I think that Cayden is a better passer. I think Cayden's probably a better catch and shoot 3-point shooter. So that's a pretty.
That's a little. I don't know.
I think Cayden's high school numbers, catch and shoot, are fantastic. It's off the bounce that his numbers are way worse. But catch and shoot. I mean, there's also a reason that Cayden's free throw percentage in high school was like something like, what was it, 85%, 87%? Like, when he's just shooting the ball, it's a very clean shot. It's off the bounce where it's like, a little low, it can get a little erratic, right? Like stuff like this. But again, he's a freshman. There's time there. Yeah. But I think that the defense, where Caleb also has historically had some struggles, the end of last season notwithstanding, it's just going to take Cayden some time on that end, in the way that like Sion was able to come in and be like, I'm one of the best defenders in the ACC right away. Like, I don't think Cayden is going to be able to do that. He's a freshman, and I'm a huge believer in Cayden, but like most freshmen are going to struggle on defense, just period. Right. So unless Cayden's defense is ready right away, then Caleb's going to have a pretty clear advantage on that end. Even if it's not great defense, then he might still have an advantage. So yeah, I lean Caleb, even though I said a lot of the offseason, I thought there was a chance that they'd wheel out both, like, for stretches, which creates some matchup issues. But like, I just know they like to run multiple ball handlers, right? Like, so I think from that perspective, I also just didn't know that we'd see Nik Khamenia doing like 30 minutes a game in these exhibitions, right? Like, that was not something that I anticipated. I anticipated his numbers to be like more in the 20s, like, like everybody else. So yeah, I'm gonna go Caleb. I think it's kind of an easy choice at this point, I think.
Yeah.
Although do I love the world in which Cayden is immediately so much better, like, or is immediately like ready and is like a lottery pick, level production right away? Does that mean we're going to be an absolute monstrous team this year? Of course. Am I rooting for that? Of course. But like, there's a world in which Caleb also just like it clicks and he figures it out.
That's my biggest thing. If Caleb doesn't give you a reason to bench him, he's not going to get benched. Even if Cayden, I honestly think it may even be like a Calipari, Andrew Harrison versus was it Book or Ulis, a situation where they are the better player off the bench, but the starter is not giving you a reason to sit him down. Then I don't know.
No, I thought that decision was insane. And so And so I really hope it doesn't get to that point because the fan base will
Yeah. Well, not to that.
revolt.
Yeah, not to
Yeah.
that that I guess magnitude, but like in a sense where
Yeah.
Cayden might be the slightly better player. Book and Ulis were the clear better players. Like
Yeah. It's just this weird thing that because last year was such a disaster for Caleb that people have forgotten how really good he was his freshman year. And so, like, even in the exhibitions, there were plays that he made that were really good where there was like radio silence in the Discord. And anytime he committed a turnover or like looked sped up at all, people were like, oh, see, there he goes. There he goes again. You know, it's like, bro, did you miss the like good plays though? Did you miss where the team like in the Tennessee game, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his minus was like +8. I mean, we won by 7, so it's pretty net neutral, but like he was on the floor for the most important stretches of the game, and when we still won the game. I mean, like
free throws.
He hit those free throws. Nobody wants to talk about that. So like I don't know. I really hope that fans give him the leeway that he has earned through that freshman year and through choosing to come back when he could have been starting for 85% of high major schools this year, right? Like he came back to Duke to be at Duke and to compete against the Cayden Boozers and the Dame Sarrs and whatever. And I think that shows a lot of character and it makes me believe in him a lot. Who starts more games, Dame Sarr and Nik Khamenia? This one's me. I'm kind of inclined to go with Nik, just based on same principle. Like it sort of seems like he is the starter now, and it will be his starting role to lose. I think that Dame. I think that this split, much like the Caleb Cayden split, I don't really see Nik playing like 30 minutes a game like he has in the exhibitions. I see it more like a 20-20 kind of deal, 22-18, whatever it is. It also won't be pure like that, right? There's going to be some mushiness in there and Darren Harris and whatever else. But if it's Nik's job now, then I think the responsible thing to do is to pick Nik, unless I think that Nik loses it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I think he's too good to like just flat out lose it. I could see Dame being just so good that they can't not start him anymore. I definitely could see that. I also don't know. Like, there's a chance that the Caleb Cayden thing isn't the debate. It's the Dame and Nik thing isn't the debate. It could be that Dame and Nik both start and Caleb and Cayden neither start. There's a world in which that could happen, right? Like when you have so many playmakers on the floor, like point guard, small forward, like everyone I've spoken to says they never talk about the team that way, like internally at all. Like they're not looking for like, you're my point guard on this possession. Like they don't give a crap about any of that. Like, so so it might not even boil down like that. If Dame has to play, he could start above Caleb or Cayden potentially, and Nik keeps starting. But I think Nik, I mean, he's like 6'8", 6'9", he can shoot, he can pass, he draws fouls, he defends really well, like for a guy, his age, right? Like, just because the size is ridiculous. I'm inclined to say he starts maybe all year.
Yeah, this is another tough one because I think, to your point, I do feel like it is a similar principle to Caleb and Cayden, where I feel like because Khamenia has it now, he has to lose it. But I also personally think Dame Sarr is our best perimeter defender on the roster. And
I think that's fair.
I could see a point where if we're not liking where we are defensively, that Shire does make that switch at least to improve our defense, just depending on where it is. But yeah, it's a tough situation. Now you did get crazy with the Caleb and Cayden both coming off the bench. I think at that point, if that happens, then boy, we didn't get anything out of Caleb.
It might not even come to that. It might just be that Dame's that good, right? It might be a thing like with Sion, right? Where like when they're looking at the analytics for those first 6 games, if like he is so clearly one of the most net positive players on the roster, then John's going to yank somebody else. Like he's got to. And then like, who could it be? I'd like to point out again that I was also the person on the preseason show last year who floated the possibility when nobody thought it was possible that when Sion went into the starting lineup, which I said that he was going to at some point because I believed in him, I said it could be for Caleb. And that was something that got some pushback at the time, right? Like,
did I push back on that?
I think I got a whoa out of you. I think I got a.
Oh, okay.
I think I got a whoa. Like there's, but like, and again, that was me just hedging my bets a little bit because it could have been one of them. The point is that when you have so much talent and when it's so diverse in terms of everybody can do everything, there's no locked in thing anyway. They just don't think about the game that way. So like they could roll out a Dame, Evans, Nik, Cam, Pat lineup, which honestly sounds pretty sexy. I mean, it sounds really cool.
Like I don't think
making those shots. I mean,
I don't think it's like
real.
I don't think it's crazy as in like, oh, it can't happen. I think it's like, whoa, like that would be insane. But I think it's dependent on number one, Dame's ability to play make himself, which I think is there at least, at Barcelona, it was there even from like a pick and roll standpoint. I don't think we really got to see it much in the exhibition.
He made like one kick out, if I recall correctly. Like he did one of the ones where my eyebrows went like, like we're seeing it. It's happening.
Yeah. So I mean, if he flashes that ability, then sure, then it could happen. I was just thinking it would take a lot to get to that point and just fully like kind of put Caleb as the backup and Cayden's not even the insert. So, but I don't think it's impossible.
I think it'd take less than you think, if only because one of the main reasons Sion took over for Caleb last year was defense, right? Like if Dame is our best defender, if Caleb's defense, which while it was better than Cayden's defense in the exhibitions, like he's still just he's excited for steals. I feel like he doesn't always stay in front. I feel like he's looking turnovers occasionally. I feel like sometimes off ball he gets caught watching, like which Dame did too, to be clear. Like Dame's also, just getting used to what's going on in this game and with this roster, right? Like his rotations and everything else. Like it's going to be a bit of a work in progress with this younger team. But like if Caleb has to go to the bench, you have to go like it's going to be because somebody is so clearly more net positive. And like, where does that net positive come from? Well, it could very easily come on the defensive end if said player is the best defender on the team, just like you could argue outside of Cooper, obviously, that Sion was last year, right? Yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't think it's insane, but it makes me think about both of these questions differently. I think Nik is the answer the way it's framed. I just don't know that I would have framed it necessarily that way. I think the interesting who starts more games, Caleb, Cayden, or Dame, right? Like out of all three, that gets way more interesting to me. But but they didn't ask it, so I don't have to say it.
For the sake of being different, I picked Dame.
Yeah, great. I just don't think he'll start at the very beginning of the year, so I'm going to give the nod to Nik. I think there's a chance Nik just starts all year. Who starts more games specifically at center is according to this question. Is it Pat, is it Maliq, or Cam, but only at center? So presumably meaning that Cam is starting and neither Pat nor Maliq is starting, right?
Yeah.
So you go first, I believe, this time.
Yeah. I got Pat. I don't think it'll change much throughout the season. I think maybe sometimes it'll be matchup specific, but I think Pat is always going to get the first chance, unless it's a situation where Pat is really struggling and it's like, okay, we got to make this change. But I think Pat is going to have a lot of Shire will have a lot of grace with Pat, especially with this being his first full season. I think we all see the potential there with him. And I think, it's Maliq is very fine and very comfortable with coming off the bench. Like he's made that clear. And I think, he's probably the best team guy on the team. So I don't think it would ever be a situation where, Shire will feel pressure to do that. I think it's if, Pat starts struggling early, then Maliq check in and fix it. If Pat is cooking, okay, we can extend his minutes a little bit this game. But I don't think, we'll ever get to a point. Hopefully, we don't get to a point where it's like, Nah, we should start Maliq. And I also think confidence factor wise, Shire might be weighing that in, a little bit.
I think it's Pat for the same reasons that I've said for all the other things, right? Like it's his job right now, so it will stay his job. Unless for whatever reason it stops being his job, right? Like, I think there's a chance that it could be Maliq if, for one of two things happens. One, there's going to be a lot of teams that want to just bomb away against Duke this year because we've got Cam, because we've got Pat, right? We've got a great front court, which means one of the advantages you're going to have is just out shooting us, right? Shoot a bunch of threes. That's like all mid-majors at this point understand that the way to beat sort of the more talented, bigger teams is going to be to just bomb away from three. And if they're bombing away from three, we're going to need Maliq more in those games, probably. So do we think that happens like all year? In which case, like we're going to at bare minimum see a lot of Maliq minutes. But I think I just think they're going to roll out Pat to begin every game minimum. Even if Maliq ends up playing more minutes, I think there's a chance Pat starts more games, right?
Yeah.
Like so yeah. I would roll with Pat. I'm not really questioning that one too much. Who leads the team in points? This one's pretty easy. Cayden Boozer.
Yeah, I think
who leads the team in assists is a much better question. And that one, is that one you? I think that we're giving that one to you, or is that one for me?
I don't even necessarily want to. We can speed these, but I think my quick answer is probably Cayden Boozer.
I was also going to say Cayden Boozer. Yeah, yeah, just sheer usage alone. Right? Yeah. He's going to have the ball. Who leads the team in rebounds? That one's pretty easy. It's got to be Cayden Boozer. I'd be stunned if it's not. Who leads the team in steals?
I'll go Maliq. If Maliq is healthy for Texas, which I'm expecting him to be, I'm picking Maliq.
I'm going to go Dame. I think he'll play enough, and I think he's just so disruptive and so fast, and like more than anything, frankly, to the point where maybe it might get him in trouble every once in a while. But like, if Dame gets a steal and is in the open court, it's 2 points that no one's catching him, right? So like, I think he's gonna look for those.
I also think you're forgetting Maliq is like an all-time deflection.
He is
his defender. I remember he came back from injury, and first thing he did was deflection. So,
deflections don't always result in steals, though.
That is true.
Yeah. Now, if the question was deflections, I'd take an RB. I mean, Maliq did get 1.5, almost 1.5 last year while only playing like 16 minutes a game. Maliq is probably the safe pick, but I don't know. There's something about Dame just like jumping out into passing lanes where he's completely bananas and like, I don't know. I kind of like the odds there. Plus, if Maliq only plays 16 minutes a game again, like I think Dame will probably play a little more. So, like, I don't know. I might be wrong. You might just be right on that one. Who leads the team in blocks this year?
Who you got?
I'm gonna say Pat. I think that he'll be the guy who plays drop most. He'll be the guy playing defense against other fives who are playing inside the most.
Yeah.
When he's in, I think it's far more likely that we're going to pressure on the outside in hopes of funneling people into Pat, right? So I think he'll have just more block opportunities, So I like him here.
Yeah, I think people don't realize Pat has. I'm pretty sure it's like a 7'4" wingspan. Like he will get blocks, and people are going to challenge him because they probably think he's not as physically imposing as like a Kaman or defenders we've seen in past. So I think it's going to be Pat for sure.
Who leads the team in turnovers?
Let me check the exhibition.
This one goes to you. I think there's an obvious answer here.
Hold on. I'm just looking at I feel like it might be Cam, but
yeah, you're overthinking it. It's absolutely Cam. Like when you go back and look at Duke over the last like however many years, unless we have an every possession point guard, who is like always running the offense, it's always our highest usage player. Like it's always our highest usage player. Like always. Like
But
it was Cooper, it was Flip both times, it was I don't think it was Matt Hurt for the Trey Jones Trey was obviously Trey Jones the year when it was his show. It was Matt Hurt the year that it was his show. It was obviously Paolo when it was his year. I mean, it's usually the player with the ball in his hands the most. I think he's going to have a low turnover rate compared to other players of his usage. But like when you have the ball the most, you're going to turn it over the most. That's
that
how it goes.
That was my thing. Is I think his turnovers will actually be pretty low to how much he has the ball. Because I mean, we saw last game. Last game he didn't have a turnover up until I think they blitzed him on a screen, and I wouldn't even really fault him for that. But otherwise,
but there was that one pass that I think it was to Slim where it was clearly like not a great pass, and they gave the turnover to Slim instead of to Cam.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Like so but again, he's running the show. Like, of course he's going to turn the ball over a little more. Like, do you think Cooper Flagg cared that he led the team in turnovers by a lot last year? Like, no, who cares? Now, if you want to say like per 100 possessions, if you want to like adjust it to like usage or whatever, then it would be different, right? But like your highest usage player is generally the one with the most turnovers. I'm gonna read off what Marshall's like what the whole group's answers were after this. If it's not Cayden Boozer, then I'm shocked. Who leads the team in 3 points made? I mean, I've got to think it's Slim. We probably both have Slim.
Very obvious.
Who leads the team in 3-point percentage? Could be a little more interesting. I'm still going Slim. I'm still going Slim.
I still go Slim, but I think a dark horse is probably Cam, to be honest.
Dark horse is Cam. I think a dark horse could be Darren Harris. I mean, because just he'll take fewer of them. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. Who leads the team in dunks? This is a really interesting one. Because we've seen that Cam likes to kind of do the like off the glass. He likes to do a little finesse inside. He's not just like overpowering necessarily.
I think it's going to be Pat.
I still went with Cam just based on points, like alone, right? Like, I just think he's going to be the guy with the opportunity to score the most. But Pat is a very good answer.
Pat is an underrated lob threat. I don't think people kind of think because he doesn't jump off the ground as high, but his wingspan makes it easier for him to be a lob threat. I mean, last year, I think in the ACC tournament, 5 of his buckets were dunks.
Yeah. I mean, look, it won't be Slim, but but I do want to say that if we were adjusting it for like who is going to have the best ratio of dunks to layups, then I think it would be Slim, because like whenever Slim goes inside, he's not looking to lay it up. He's looking to put it on you.
Listen, if he had that two-handed poster on oh my goodness, against Tennessee, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Who will be our second? No, wait, I went way too far. Most likely to drop 40 points. I mean, like, I kind of think it's got to be Cam, right? Like,
Cam.
Like, didn't he already? What did he do in the one game? He already scored a ton in the
33.
I mean, come on. I think that Slim is an obvious sleeper here. If he's just like on one from 3. I mean, like, if you told me there was a game in which he scored like 8 or 9 3-point, like, just
but that's the thing. We've
bananas,
seen that.
like,
We've seen that before. With Jared McCain is flaccid, and he only still got the 36.
Yeah, you're right. Who will be our second best player? This is a really interesting question.
I think it's Isaiah Evans to me.
I put Pat, but not like if it comes down to offense, it is very clearly Isaiah Evans. I think that Pat is going to be a tremendously impactful player when he's out there. Because of the tools that he brings on offense, and because, like, as great a defender as Maliq is on the perimeter, Pat is more of an at-the-rim enforcer than Maliq is. That's not really as much Maliq's strength compared to Pat. So I just think the way this team plays or is going to want to play, that Pat is probably the most – maybe instead of second best, I should have gone, like, second most important. But even then, Slim's three-point shooting is really important. It's close. If it was just offense, I'd say Slim without hesitation. But because I'm going to include defensive end in the mix, and because of what I think Pat probably brings on that end, I'm going to lean Pat. But that's a really hard question.
Yeah, I do think you're.
I think there's a better chance. I'll put it this way: there's a better chance Slim is all ACC than Pat.
Oh yeah,
because
sure.
because the stats are going to be gaudy. But I just think Pat's impact on defense is enough that I want to consider it.
I do think Slim is going to be very competitive defender. May not be a lockdown defender, obviously, but I do think we've seen his flashes of it, even in the exhibition. You know, he'll compete defensively.
I think on ball in particular, he got a lot better over the course of last year. I just don't know that there's anybody on the roster that can do what Pat can do in terms of defending at the rim to the level that Pat can defend at the rim.
Yeah.
And Duke is so used to having a guy who like just locks down the rim over the last several years that I feel like that's really important. Mm-hmm. Who will be our sixth man? Almost like impossible question to answer.
That's kind of impossible because it just depends on the starting lineup. I mean, as we have it now, our sixth man. Well, it might not be. Actually, no. I think we're overthinking it. I think it's Maliq Brown.
Yeah, you're right.
I think we're overthinking.
I was gonna sit and do a whole thing, but you're right. How many rotation players will we play in competitive games? You answer this while I move rooms real quick because I'm waking up my baby. So let me move while you talk. How many players will have in competitive games?
All right. I think for the most part, I think people are underestimating the depth of this team. I'm not saying I don't think like this, pound for pound is the most talented Duke team ever. No, I think with every single lineup we have, we're going to have 4 guys on the bench who you can throw into a high stakes game. If you look at the lineup right now as constructed, it's Caleb, it's Isaiah Evans, it's Khamenia, Cam, Pat, leaving these guys on the bench. Cayden Boozer, Darren Harris, Maliq Brown, and Dame Sarr. 3 of those guys have to play. Just they have to play because you know what they're capable of bringing to the team. And then, the fourth option is always going to be like, why? I don't think he's going to get a DMP. Like that fourth option right now, I think is probably Darren right now. If you're Cayden or Darren off the bench, because Dame and Maliq are locks to play. And 2 of them are not getting DMPs, in my opinion. So I do think the rotation will be 9 for the rest of the season, unless someone just like really plays themselves out of the way.
Do we think it's 9 in competitive games though? Because that's the question.
I think so. Unless Darren Harris gives a reason not to play him. I think Cayden has to play if we're starting Caleb because he's our secondary point guard, backup point guard, and Maliq is going to play and Dame is locked to play. So I don't know.
I think Maliq and Dame are locks to play. I went with 8 in competitive games just because question marks about the defense of like, look, if Darren's missing his shots and his defense isn't quite there, will he play? If Cayden's defense, isn't quite there and Dame is able to give us, some of that bringing up the ball or Nik or whomever else. I mean, like, there are just enough ball handlers on the team that I don't think ball handling alone is going to merit, like, me going, he is a stone cold lock to play in every competitive game. Like, I think the defense has to be there. And I think it will be. Like, I agree that over the course of the season, it's 9. Like, and I think that in most games it's 9. But when we're playing against, if we're in like a stone cold battle versus like a top 10 team or whatever, I think he's just going to keep a really short leash on the end of that bench. And if he sees something he doesn't like, especially on the defensive end, he's probably going to, make somebody sit for that.
Yeah, are we considering that 9 if Darren Harris plays 2 minutes and gets yanked? Is that still 9? That because I'm factoring that in as 9.
Well, let me put it this way: if Darren Harris averages 2 minutes a game over the course of the season, do you think our rotation has been 9 over the course of the season? Because I would say no.
That's not possible though. You can't average
Well,
2
no.
minutes a game.
Well, no. But the point that I'm saying is like, if I think somebody's in the rotation, that means like somebody who is like actively playing. Like if you're playing 2 minutes in a game, that's because you went in, you screwed up, you got pulled, you never came back in, right? Like basically, right? You know, so I'm inclined to say if somebody's doing 2 minutes, that's not part of the rotation for the purposes of a competitive game. I would say somebody who's playing, like coming in and out. You know what I mean? Like, and I think 8 is a good answer for that. I think one of the other guys, I don't know who it would be, but I think there's a world in which somebody just doesn't play much at all in a competitive close game.
Then I'll categorize it like this: if there are 9 players that will play in a high stakes game, that's it. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance if it's foul trouble or whatever that it could be 10. You know, like there's a chance.
True.
How many minutes per game does our 9th man get? Now, this kind of is a nice segue from our last discussion point here. How many minutes per game does the 9th man get? I
need the context of history of 9th man because I don't know what.
Okay, I've got it.
A 9th man.
Okay, I got you. So, 9th man last year did 13.8. It was Isaiah. Okay. 9th man in 2024 was 8.3. It was Sean Stewart. Okay. 2023, and by 9th man, I'm going purely by minutes per game. Okay, right. The 9th in that order, right? 9th man in 2023, 13.2, Jalen Blake's. Okay, those are all the John Shire years. And then you go back to like 9th man in 2022, 5.3. 9th man in 2021, 11.5, Joey Baker, right?
Yeah.
In 2020, 13.2, Javin. They played Joey Baker was 10th man that year and played 12 minutes a game. That was a deep team for like rotation anyway. Maybe not like in terms of our high level. Like
extended it a bit just to find something.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll go maybe 14 range. Because I think there will be games, especially that kind of skew the numbers that, you know, the 9th man may get a 20, 25 minute game, you know, it's a blowout, you know, they're playing a little bit more. And then like I said, I think everyone's going to play in the game. I think everyone's going to play to my opinion.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I mean, like last year we had basically 3 guys play 30 minutes a game with Cooper, Khan, and Tyrese. And then we had 2 guys play in the 20s and everyone else was in the teens. You know, I kind of think that this is a similar roster construction, right? Where I see Cam playing 30. I see, Slim probably playing as close to 30 as he can handle. And then I see obviously like there's a chance that like a Nik or a Pat or somebody like gets up there. But like I see a lot of guys in that like teens to like low 20s on this team, in which case, yeah, I wrote down 13. That's me being a little conservative because frankly, I think that down to like that, like 4 through 7, it's really hard to say which guys play like under 18, right? It's not like, you know, last year, 6 through 10 was like 16, 14, 14, 13, 10, right? Like how many guys we have that are playing that few? It's hard to say. So, I mean, I went 13 to play it safe. It's probably Darren, but like could be Cayden, right? Like could be a couple of players if like injuries or like things really don't break right. But like I think 13 is probably a pretty safe bet. How many Blue Devils leave for the draft this off season?
Oh, brother. This is way too early.
One being we're going to include Maliq, right?
Okay.
Like, so Maliq is definitely gone. Let's just talk through it together,
Yeah.
right? Maliq is gone. Cam is gone, right? From everything that I have, from everything I understand, Dame is very likely to be gone.
He gone.
The expectation, given what we think his season will go like,
Isaiah's gone.
is that Slim is gone, right? If Slim is not gone, that means something funky happened this year, right? Like if he does what we have talked about on this show, he will be gone. Who else? Because I'll be honest, dude. I'm inclined to say 4, and that it's that. I think there's a chance that it gets to 5, and I don't know who the 5th is because there are a lot of guys like Nik could go, Pat could go if everything goes right. Cayden could go. Caleb will be a junior who could graduate and just decide he is done with college potentially. Like there's that possibility. I don't know that he would do that, but like you can't rule it out. So like maybe hedging the bets that one other guy goes, maybe the smart bet is 5. I am not inclined to go 6, 7. You're gonna lose me on headphones. Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right?
No, I hear you. You said 6,
Okay.
7. You said 6,
Yeah.
7.
Oh Jesus. I'm not inclined to go that high. Given like what happened with Slim last year, right? And given what's going on in the NBA with guys struggling to get to their second contracts and NIL. Look, as we know, if NIL wasn't a thing, Slim would be gone. Slim, and like I think the team believes Slim would have been a first-round pick last year, like late first-round pick, right? But like he came back because the opportunity is very obvious, you know. So I think there are a couple of guys who fall under that umbrella who would be, potential All-American candidates, if they came back, All-ACC candidates if they came back. It just depends on whether you believe, like somebody like Pat, for instance. Do you think that Pat is like a top 10 to 14? Like, do you think he's a lottery pick this year? Or do you think he's an end of first round type pick this year? And if you think he's end of first round, there's a very real chance that he's back. Same goes for Nik. Same goes for Cayden. The only ones that I feel pretty strong about are the 4. And then maybe I would go to 5 because chances are one other guy blows up this year and goes. So maybe I'll switch to 5.
Yeah, I think you're forgetting one more aspect of leaving for off season that happens as well. But
portal's a different question. Portal's a different question.
Okay.
In the thing, this is purely draft.
Okay. Purely draft. Yeah.
Although you're not going to like my portal answer either, probably. But this is purely draft. I think it's 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm aligned with that.
Yeah. How many Blue Devils get selected for All-American?
1.
I would also say 1. I'd be really surprised if it's more. How many Blue Devils get selected for All-Conference, not including defensive team? Now, this is an interesting one.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
knowing
you go ahead.
Yeah, knowing the ACC, I'd say 2.
In the past, it's basically always 2 or 3, depending on how good Duke is.
Yeah.
I went 3. It's 2 is the safe answer. I think I went 3 because I think the chances that we have a guy who's a really huge two-way impact, like Pat, or maybe even as a sleeper, somebody like a Dame or even a Nik, there's a chance that you can sneak into the third team if you think Duke, wins the ACC, and there's a very clear two-way player who's going to be a one-and-done type guy. I think so. I went 3, hedging my bets there.
Yeah. We'll see.
How many Blue Devils get selected for All-Conference defense team?
There's only 5 spots, so
yeah. So I went 1.
Yeah.
It's there's a world it's Maliq and Dame. If Maliq plays enough, I could see it. Or if Dame plays enough, right? Like there's a chance, but I think 1 is the safe bet.
Yeah.
How many Blue Devils leave for the portal this offseason, Zion?
get to plead the fifth on this? Because listen, the reality of it is, if you look at next year's recruiting class and where Duke is trying to go, there is a chance. I don't know who it is, but there's a chance that someone, feels like
there's always a chance. For
Yeah.
sure, there's always a chance. Definitely.
So, I can't really, I can't put a number on it, I would say, because obviously that's so dependent on, how everyone plays.
Well, all of these things are very dependent on right? These are all
but like at least with the draft, like like people are leaving for the draft. Like you could probably like put your money on it that Cam is gone, Isaiah is gone. Like those
sure,
are kind of,
there are more guys that you are sure will be gone than portal guys that you are sure will be gone. I agree with that. But then beyond those 4 names that we named, and honestly, like, yeah, I mean, like, I think those are the 4 that are expected to be gone. Beyond that, they're not sure. And then I would say, so if we wanted to go to 5, that involves some projection. If you want to pick a number for portal, it requires projection.
I would say, 1.
I think one is safe.
Yeah,
I'm going to annoy people and say 0. I'm going to annoy people and say 0.
Sarr is good at keeping people. I will say that.
Yeah, he's good at keeping people. He's very clearly prioritizing retention. The portal is harder for Duke than other schools. The more I hear about that, the more clear it is, right? Like, we can't play fantasy basketball with Duke in the portal. We just can't do it the way that other schools can. So if you can't go out and just like snag all Americans willy-nilly the way that some other schools can, then you have to win through talent advantage and intelligent, play calling or whatever, and continuity, right? So they're going to prioritize continuity in a real way. And so if this class, is like 5 players deep, which I think is very, very likely at the end of the day. Yeah. If you want to retain like 5 players, if they can retain 5 and bring in 5, and then maybe like 1 portal guy or whatever, I mean, like that's money. I had also there was a little rumor. I don't know if this is true or not. There's a rumor that Meyer is a potential redshirt candidate, possibly.
Okay.
That he'd be going to contend, and then obviously in case of emergency break glass kind of deal. I don't know if I haven't validated that, but like that's the sort of thing where maybe you're not counting him for like your 9-man heavy minute rotation necessarily, unless he shows something otherwise. But yeah, I mean, like I think we're gonna want to bring back like 5 guys, 4 or 5 guys, if we can. So, bring back a couple of those guys that could go to the draft, bring back Darren, bring back Sebastian, right? Like, then you've got the class, then like a portal guy, and then once again, you're in really good shape to contend. But, so I'm going to say 0. I'm going to put my faith, I'm going to plant my flag and put my faith. There's certainly a chance that if somebody just doesn't play a lot, and if a family member, or team, person from their camp gets in their ear, that they could go. That's always going to be a chance every year. But I'm going to count on John to sort of achieve the mission.
Yeah.
And then who will be your favorite player is the last question. I think it's clear from the way I speak about him that my favorite player is Isaiah Evans. Like Cayden Boozer is going to be an absolute delight, but like nothing brings me more joy than, like, I think I said last year that Slim was the first funny and really good player that we had in a while. Like usually my players that I love so much are guys that are like really scrappy on the defensive end, but aren't exactly like the most flashy offensive weapons or whatever. They just make me laugh because they will dive into a player's legs and make an insane pass, and it works, and it's magical and wonderful. You love the effort, you love the enthusiasm. Slim has all of that, and he can just like make 6 NBA Jam style turbo 3-pointers in a row, like at any given point. I mean, like that when he launches a 40-foot 3 with like someone in his face, people are going to be like, "That's a bad shot." But for Slim, might be going in. And that's the beauty of him. So I he's my favorite player on this team, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just pick something there. I think Slim is probably my favorite, but I would just I'll go Pat. I think I have a lot of stock in Pat, and
Yeah, he's gonna be a lot of fun too.
I love watching Pat play. I love anytime he gets the ball on the post. I love seeing it. I would like to see it more this year. Now he's got the ability to shoot the three. That jumper looks real. It looks legit.
It looks pretty good.
It
And
look-
that high low that they did with Marvin and Dell in 2018 and some of the other, high low things that they've done in the past, when both Cam and Pat can pass the way they can and when they have the ability to finish inside the way they do, they're going to go back to that a lot this year where they just park one of those guys at the elbow or whatever and then, either let Pat – dude, how about that Pat dribble drive from the outside of the perimeter in the Tennessee game? I mean, I know I don't think it worked out, but
it was the only missed shot of the game, but nah.
Yeah, but I kind of liked the fact that he went for it. And I mean, especially against a team like Tennessee.
Yeah. No.
Can you hear me, by the way? I lost my other headphone.
Nah, I hear you. I hear you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Pat will be a lot of fun this year, and it's going to be a breakout year. Even though there's one dude on one podcast, I won't address his name, that has already said Pat will not break out this season. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Let me read the results from the thing. They said points leader. They didn't go with all the questions, all those over-unders. I guess I'll have to see those later. But it says points leader, Cam Boozer. Assist leader, they have Cayden Boozer. Rebounds, Cam Boozer. Steal leader, Maliq. Block, Pat. We had all that. Turnover leader, Caleb Foster is pure hatred.
That is,
I mean, that's such an insane thing, guys. It's such a dumb claim. Unless, honestly, what that is, though, is a vote of confidence in Caleb, because then you are assuming that he is going to be one of the highest usage players on the team if you think he's the turnover leader on the team.
Yeah.
So 3-point made, Isaiah Evans. Only one vote from unanimous for that, which I want to know who the one vote was. That's pretty. It was probably Mr. Mo, who loves Darren Harris more than anything. By the way, for those of you who aren't on this Discord, there's a guy who said if Duke wins it all this year, he's going to get a tattoo of Darren Harris's face on his ass if Duke wins the title this year. And I told Darren about it at K Academy. Drop, ting, put it on the thing. But it's extra incentive for Darren to bring home a title this year is to get his face tattooed on this stranger's ass.
Pause.
I know, dude. 3-point percentage. They have Darren, dunk leader Cam Boozer, most likely drop 40. Isaiah they have, which now again, this poll was taken before the exhibition.
Okay, yeah.
So that probably counts. Second best player they have Pat, though. There's a note that with more responses, they think it might have been Slim. I don't know how they got that number, but whatever. Sixth man Maliq. Expected rotation in big games 8.38, so right between what we had. Ninth man expected minutes 7 minutes per game. I think that's low. Miscellaneous, they say 3.91 players leave for the draft. I think that's a little low, even though I think 4 is very reasonable. 1.28 make All-American, I think is high. 2.72 make All-ACC. That's very fair. 1.6 make All-Defense. I think is probably a little high, but whatever. And then right around 1 portal out. Favorite player, number 1 by 1 vote. Big Pat took home that, followed by Cam Boozer, and then 1 vote behind them tied was Maliq and Slim. Wow. So, I mean, I think that says a lot about this team, that the fan base is so split. And then almost every other player got votes, right? I think this fan base has a lot to get excited about this year in terms of the enjoyability, in particular on the offensive end, I think. So,
yeah. All right. Sure.
A lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff.
Big shout out to Marshall, man. Big shout out to Marshall. That very creative thing.
Don't inflate his ego.
Yeah.
What anything else we need to address? This has obviously been a long show.
Very long show, but I guess I did ask Duke fans for quick questions. One question that came up was your prediction of the non-conference schedule.
You mean in terms of how many we win?
Mm-hmm. This is the greatest non-conference schedule in Duke history.
Is it really?
Well, by far. Hold on, let me pull up the.
I'm not sure by far. I don't know if I'd go by that.
What?
Dude, first of all, history is is long. Second of all, we've got I think there's a chance that we have the most like top 15 teams in one that we've ever played. I don't know. I'd be interested in looking back at that. Somebody smarter than me can do it. I don't know. I mean, I think there are 6 non-con games that I think are going to be real challenges.
Which are?
I mean, I think it's the ones everyone would expect. It's the 6 against tournament teams or like surefire tournament teams, which would be Kansas, Arkansas, Florida, Michigan State, Texas Tech, and Michigan. I would say, look, people are going to be mad that I'm going to say this. I don't expect the record of last year. I don't think that's just going to happen. This team can be a title contending team, but because everyone in the country, like the top end is going to be worse, but the middle might be still really good. And particularly the ACC, it should be better this year. Knock on wood, at least a little better. Definitely at the top, it should be better. So yeah, I'm inclined to say maybe in non-con we lose 2 to 3, because like, you know what, Kansas. I mean, looking, I know your favorite thing, Ken Palm, but like looking at the numbers, we're going to be favored in all of these games. I'm pretty sure, unless we drop an early one. But like, it says Kansas 62%, likelihood of victory. Arkansas 66, Florida 54, Michigan State 53 because it's on the road. And then Michigan is 55. I mean, like that's pretty close to flipping a coin 6 times, right? Like, so if we went 3-3, I think that's a pretty reasonable result there. I think if we went 4-2 in those 6 games, we are in exceptional shape for a 1 seed. I mean, that goes without saying. That's going to be, there won't be a single team with 4 bigger non-con wins in the country, I'm pretty sure, right? Like even with 3-3, like imagine our 3 biggest wins are like Florida, Kansas, and Michigan. I mean, like that's hefty, man. Like that's a big resume. Like people need to realize that. Like I don't think 3 is a diss. So it's between 2 and 3 realistically. 2 is the sort of better side of things. 3 is the like more very middle of the road side of things.
Yeah, I'll go 2 of those. We'll lose 2.
I mean, surely you don't think we lose another one?
What do you mean?
Like in non-conference, if that's all we were talking about.
Oh no. Of all in entirety, I think we lose 2. The Michigan game is going to be very tricky to me because their front court, especially with their size and Yaxel, that boy's a dog, and their depth in their front court. One of the few front courts that might be physically better than us and be able to match in skill. When you look at Mara's being like 7'2", and then Yaxel, that's a tough front court. Florida is obviously the obvious one that's going to be a war, but it's also at home, so it's like I know what camera does. What camera is going to be like that game? Is Florida going to be ready for that? I don't know, but they are the defending champs, and they do have a talented team, so I wouldn't be surprised dropping that. But I'm honestly very confident. Arkansas is a very talented team. Kansas is a very talented team, but I think Kansas is very top heavy. It's Badunga and Darren Peterson. Michigan State, come on, man. Tom Izzo see Duke Blue Devil and he starts crumbling. So I can't really.
I'm not actually worried about Michigan State on paper. It's just when you're a young team on the road against a team that's going to be very experienced. I mean, obviously, that's kind of why that exhibition against Tennessee is a really nice indicator. I mean, Tennessee should be better than Michigan State this year, in my opinion. But this game will also count. You know, like.
But even in context though of that, they'll play Florida Kansas and Arkansas all before Michigan State. I know it's a road game, but like this team is probably going to be well tested going into that.
Well, there's also the emotional component of that too, right? Like if we beat Arkansas and beat Florida at home in what's going to be an absolute, war, and then we have to travel to Lansing like a few days later. Like we play them 4 days after that. So like I feel like it's one of those things. It's why I never like saying we're definitely going to win this game, we're definitely going to lose this game, because everything is within the context of what, to quote Kamala, everything is within the context of what came before it, right? If we lose to Florida, then Michigan State is a great get back spot. If we beat Florida, Michigan State is sort of a pretty predictable letdown spot.
That's fair.
So and they're just going to be big and physical and annoying the way they always are. Kansas is really just, I don't love their roster outside of Peterson and Badunga, but Bill Self is one of the best coaches alive, and you have to at least consider the possibility that he's got some tricks up his sleeve. Arkansas just has sheer talent. I'm not too worried about the coaching element of that at this point, but their backcourt is going to be really wild. I mean, what I've seen from the freshman backcourt this year, I mean, they're young too, but that freshman backcourt is really special for them. So that's certainly something to consider. And the Michigan part, I don't know. One of the things I wonder about that Michigan thing is, and I think I forget if it was 3-Man Weave or a different podcast was just talking about it, but like if their 3 most impactful players are all guys who like can't play on the court at the same time, like then what does that mean for like their outlook, right? Like the 3 hugely impactful players in Lindeberg, Merez, and then Mata, but like if you can't play all 3 at once, which you definitely can't, otherwise your spacing is going to be an absolute nightmare, then what do you do? I mean, especially with like Cadeau out there is not really a shooter, like some of their guards aren't really shooters either. They're like volume guys. So like, what does the shooting look like? Also by February, I'm just very confident in Duke by February as a general rule of thumb.
That is fair.
Even the younger ones, right? But it's going to be another coin flippy sort of game. So again, 2 to 3, I think, is a fair assessment there. And again, when you're talking about looking at the ACC schedule on top of that, 6 losses, 7 losses in total over the course of a season, right? Like, so 2 to 3 outside, and then maybe 4 in conference, I think is what both Ken Pom and Torvik have it as. We'll only be projected to lose one of those games in Vegas, the at Louisville game, probably.
Yeah.
And so then there's just there's the other ones which we've talked about before. I mean, that game at NC State after 2 days after playing at UVA with our home closer versus UNC at the end of that week is the trappiest of trap spots, even if it wasn't at NC State, which is always really hard anyway. So there's going to be games where we're favored, where I just look at it and go this is going to be one of those,
NC State will be better. They'll be much better. They
will be much better this year. They will enjoy their one season with Will Wade, before he gets hired by one of the bigger schools, and then then they'll get to hire somebody else next summer, which will be fun. But it'll be an interesting ACC this year. I'll put it like that. I mean, I think that Louisville will definitely be better than last year. I think that UNC, I think will be better than last year. NC State will unquestionably be better than last year.
Yeah.
And then some of the stuff down to the bottom, do I think Miami will be really good? No, but they'll be better than last year. I mean, last year there were 7 teams below the top 100 of Ken Pom, and preseason this year, which again, preseason's a grain of salt, there were 0 teams outside the top 100.
Yeah.
Right. So the bottom of the conference should be better too. Do I think Boston College will still stink? Of course. But maybe they'll stink less, which would be good for the ACC.
Yeah.
We'll see.
we'll see. We'll worry about ACC play then. But besides that, do you have any closing remarks?
No, love seeing the new class come together. Very excited about that. The one thing that I'd say about that, which is what they were trying to needle me about in the in the Discord while we were recording, you're going to hear a lot of talk about how it's a down class, and I think that that's generally probably true in terms of NBA draft prospects or whatever. But you can't look at the class as a whole and then go, oh, well, then these players clearly can't contribute to the same level that we're used to from freshmen from better classes. Even in great classes, there are freshmen that are expected to come in and beast who don't. And there are ones who are down at the bottom of the top 100 who do, right? There's a lot of variance as it pertains to that. So the strength of the class doesn't matter at all. All that matters is, like, does Duke think that the guys they're bringing in, can they contribute right away at a high level? Can they play right away at a high level? And there are multiple one and done type guys in their assessment that they are looking to obtain the services of for next season. Right?
But
yeah.
I mean, Jared McCain's class was definitely killed as being, a very weak class, and you see what the type of player he was, so
you can go through it. Same thing for NBA drafts too. Frankly, there are so many NBA drafts where people are like, this is a great draft. And then you look back a couple years later and you're like, that draft kind of sucked, or vice versa. Right. Like, but then if it's a draft that sucks, but the Raptors happen to draft two of the best players, the Raptors are like, what are you talking about? That was a great draft. Like, all we need is to pick the guys that can contribute. Which is, I think Duke has traditionally done quite a good job at targeting guys, towards the top of the class that they find the most on-court value and just character in terms of how they will contribute to a team, how they'll want to compete with returning players, how they'll want to be in the spotlight and deal with the hatred that comes with going to Duke and everything else, right? They're looking for dudes. They're looking for the dudes that they look for every year. So, like, people sweating like that it's another big class of freshmen, even though it's a down class in high school. Like, as long as we get the good ones, it doesn't matter. Like, the rest of the class does not matter at all. And Bryson Howard is such a great example of that. Like, you look at where he's ranked versus, like, you watch his tape and you look at the skill set that he has, and he might not even be necessarily a one and done guy, as he said it is. And he says in his announcement he's going to spend the next couple of years at Duke, which
Jared McCain said the same thing.
True, but it's a nice sentiment. I'll put it that way, right? And but he's got everything that you look for in the modern game of basketball as a prototypical 3-and-D guy. I mean, like, so I'm very excited about who they're looking at, and then if we bring back the right people, I mean, oh my God, I mean, we're going to be in phenomenal shape again. So as you watch all the announcements for recruits, don't be myopic about it. Like, think about it the way that the team might be thinking about it. They're not thinking, well, we better not get any freshmen because people in the media say it's a down class for the next NBA draft or whatever. Like, they don't care about that at all.
Yeah, and I'll say, Shire and the staff are pretty good at evaluating talent. I mean, you saw it even with Cedric Howard. There was no hype around Cedric Howard, on the portal talk, and
then he just dropped like 27 in the NBA or whatever.
Now he's going to be on the NBA rookie team, So
that hurts. That hurts. But that's okay. I'm happy for him. But another reason why they're not going to, like, be fully reliant on the portal every year, because, like, luckily this year we were able to get somebody incredible to take that place. I mean, like, my goodness. But, like, if Dame wasn't available, or if he had decided to declare to go somewhere else, then that's a pretty big gap to try to fill in terms of production and defense and ball handling and everything else. So, like, they want to build through retention and high school, and then they want to use portal to supplement. And then obviously if they find guys like Maliq who are really special, or Cedric Howard who are really special, who academically qualify for Duke and who will make a difference, then they're of course going to pursue those guys with everything they've got. But, like, you don't want to go into April and be like, boy, these three guys we really like, none of them academically qualify for Duke. Whoops. Now what do we do? Right? Like, Duke is just never going to get into that situation, I don't think. I mean, or at least not if they have anything to say about it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for next year. I'm excited as Shire continues forward. I think there's great stuff happening here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, that's gonna wrap up our season preview.
Thanks if you're still listening.
Yeah, we gave y'all 2 hours. Like, never expect this ever again. Be very grateful that it gave y'all almost 2 hours of commentary. And if you made it this far, the code word is Russ Team New York. Russ Team New York. If you made it this far, tweet at us. Russ Team New York. You might get a prize. You don't expect a prize. You're probably not going to get one. But just for the sake of doing it, to give you
much like Knicks fans, do not expect a prize at the end of this.
But it's going to be a very fun season. Me and Russ will be very consistent with y'all, like we told y'all earlier. You may not see Ryan much this season, so sometimes we'll be rotating people in. You may see a J-Man, may see a Carter, may see anybody. So
we're gonna try and get some special. We're gonna try and get some special guests. We'll try and throw some people in post games where we can that are gonna be There's some people in the group chat. We've bandied about a couple names that would be very exciting if we can get them to come on the show. So
hey, you may see former players on here as well. So
I'm saying.
We'll try to bring a lot of fun to y'all this season. Because it's going to be a fun year, and obviously the non-conference schedule is going to make us do a lot of shows this season. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Till next time, we'll be back after Texas Game 1. Shout out to y'all. Peace.
Watch Three Wisest Men November 15th on Hallmark Channel.
Go ahead and watch that.